Good evening and welcome to Coffee with Keith. My name is Amy Gruber and I'm the Director of Enrollment Management and Marketing at TASIS Portugal. This is episode 2 of season 2 and tonight Keith's special guests are members of the Early Learning Center faculty and Director Carrie Trigg, who are very excited to talk to you about their program tonight, and as always at the end of the webinar, they will be fielding questions. So please go ahead and submit your questions as you think of them. It's a pleasure having you all with us tonight, and registration is brisk. Lockdown definitely helps attendance, so we're glad to have you all here, and hopefully you're all staying safe. Thank you. John, over to Keith, please.
Welcome back to Coffee with Keith. My name is Keith Chiquin, Headmaster at TASIS Portugal, and I hope this finds you all well and safe this evening. Tonight we have a lively crew. I couldn't help but notice, however, that attendance for tonight's event has quadrupled, which says something. Likely you're all very bored. Before we begin tonight, I want to apologize for something that happened last week. I want to apologize to one of our parents, Bruno, who we occasionally have some fun together on this show. I referred to Bruno as cheap during last week's segment, and I feel badly about that. Bruno frequently refuses to take his wife out for dinner on Thursday evenings and uses this as an excuse, but you know, I'm really sorry about that, Bruno. I'm also sorry, Ellen. I apologize to you for disclosing to me your husband's frugal nature and assuming it was in confidence. Also, a quick shout out to our hardworking TPA, Juka and Laura, and the army of volunteers who do amazing things for us, including filling my inbox with suggestions. Next Wednesday, mark this on your calendars, February 10th, one of our TASIS parents, Audrey Besson-Levine, will present via webinar a session on parenting during the pandemic. Please tune in. Sounds like another date night for Bruno and Ellen. I just can't seem to help myself. And Anna Nadal is rolling out the welcome wagon for new TASIS families and supporting admissions efforts by connecting prospective parents with current ones. Thank you, Anna, for donating your time. And of course, keep track of the number of times you say best school ever, so we can send the corresponding number of bottles of wine to your home. Also, Anna is starting a book club for grade 6 students. So watch out for that, grade 6. And a big thank you to Kristen Pinto for all the beautiful read alouds she uploaded this week. Amazing job. And I'm not sure how you raised such well-behaved children who sat and watched and participated noddingly as you read. Amazing. They'll never fit in at TASIS. And lastly, thank you to Tanya Duarte for her fervent support and defense of TASIS on all various expat social mediums. Don't anyone dare to say something unfavorable about TASIS without reprisal from Tanya and her acerbic keystrokes. Tanya, forgive them, for they know not what they do. And lastly, to our own Luis Sareva, who offered to host an after-school activity online club for 4th and 5th graders to prepare for the musical Shrek. I understand there was a huge response from more than 30 students participating. Very impressive. And it sounds like soon some of you will be shopping for green dye number 9. Tomorrow morning, I would invite all current families to participate in the virtual school assembly at 8:30, where we celebrate with music, readings, birthdays, certificates, and a commentary on the theme of respect. We'll have 2 competitions, some video, and say goodbye to one of our own. So please join us tomorrow morning. There is also a reasonable chance the headmaster will embarrass himself, although that is almost always a likelihood. And tonight, as promised, I would like to share a few of the details of the results of the parent survey. Drum roll, please. I will admit that we received fewer responses than we anticipated, 63 families in total, which is about half of our families, I think, when you excuse staff parents, although we did receive multiple returns from a family named Donald Trump, so we discarded that lot. I'm kidding, most people identified themselves. And we've created a dartboard in the staff room with your photo. I'm kidding again, of course, the identities have not been shared, I promise. And I do promise that. And so let's not anyone give the headmaster reason to disclose them. We appreciate that many of you are surveyed out this week. You've had surveys from the school, you've had surveys from our teachers about online learning. And so we think 50% is a good result. Regarding the results, which we will publish as soon as we've had a chance to collate them, there's about 70 pages, which I've read through. I can't comment on every concern that was stated this evening, but we will share those. So let's talk about a few of them. First of all, the question on reception. Everyone seems to love Root. However, some stated they would feel more secure with a security guard at the front. Firstly, there are, so you know, security guards in the building, and they observe the exterior of the facility through CCTV cameras positioned around the perimeter. And should something out of the ordinary happen, they contact us and then they deal with it. They're located actually in an office in the parkade. Also, Root has her own live CCTV feeds, and again, she would contact any of us should she see something suspicious, which means, Linda Latte, that she sees you loitering every morning. Plus, Root is actually a black belt in karate, so you know. Oh, sorry, I'm being told that is incorrect. Apparently, Root owns a black belt and enjoys Taibo. One of the comments was about access to the campus via the front drop-off area. You will be delighted to know that this area will soon be gated off at both ends for pedestrians and automobiles during the day. The gates are being created right now, and we hope to have them installed by Easter break. And if you've ever been to Buckingham Palace, you'll recognize the design. And like the Queen's Guard, for Fred, our traffic patrol person, we've ordered a bearskin hat. There were a few comments regarding pickup, which can be admittedly crowded and will be more so in the future as the school grows. We are considering a pickup and drop off for next school year in a variety of different places and how we might alleviate the traffic concerns. So leave that with us. However, one thing that would help us is, as we've asked, if parents are parking and walking their children into their classrooms or into the school, we'd ask them to park below in the underground parking and then walk up. That would save spots being occupied for extended periods of time. Also, one parent commented, I won't reveal the source, one parent commented on the bad driving habits of other parents. Something I've joked about in the past, but would remind all of you to slow down and be careful when pulling away, although we know how anxious you are to be rid of your children. Regarding feedback, the most important feedback that we can get from you is about the quality of our teachers. And that was a report highlight, I can assure you. Consensus is our teachers are exceptional. Of course, I've been telling you that since before you met them. So I hope in future you will start to believe me. Many of the comments about online learning, screen time, technology, etc., we know there were some issues and that we believe we've solved them. That was not the nature of the survey, however. As someone said to me, you're awfully brave doing a survey in the first week of online learning. Brave or stupid. We recognize that there were some issues, but I think we've solved them, and our parents certainly have been helpful. Our teachers have received all of your feedback and are dealing with them. Some people hate Teams, other people love Teams. We heard about too much screen time, which teachers have made adjustments to, and I hope things are getting better. To be honest, I was more interested in your comments about the other 5 months of instruction that's happened face-to-face in classrooms. And we did hear a lot about that, so thank you. We also heard about an online PE class this week, which was led by Miss Village. And I understand that some of the parents joined in to learn the choreography with their children. And how fun does that sound? And of course, our finance office will be in touch about additional fees for adult education. On a scale from 1 to 4, with 4 being the best, we accept that anything between 3 and 4 is satisfactory. Not to be a downer, but if there are areas where you rated us lower than that, we need to attend to them. And there are, let me count, exactly 2. Outdoor play areas and recreational space. And these, of course, are things we recognize and we are trying to remediate. One of the things that we're trying to remediate as soon as possible is to expand the indoor-outdoor gymnasium, which many of you have not seen. It's walled on 3 sides. It has a roof structure to keep the rain out, but it is open completely on one side. And we're hoping to expand into the outdoor area with a new floor, which will be rubberized and give us approximately 50% more space. So that's number 1, and I'm hoping to do that in the next month or so. As well, we know we need a larger playing field. The field that we have is beautiful and reasonable size, but it's not a full-size pitch. And to do that, we're going to have to find a way, likely, across the Avenida de Cascais with a bridge, as we've talked about in the past, to have a full-size pitch. We know the landowner well. He's a big supporter of TASIS, and we're trying to make that happen. Our board chair, Fernando Gonzalez, will be meeting with the landowner when he gets back at the end of the month. So again, we recognize these are issues. We also have a landscape committee who are helping us to green the campus and proposing a number of landscape ideas, which we'll put into effect as soon as we have that plan. But there was a request for access to the campus, which we understand. You want to be here, you want to see where your children learn, you want to meet with teachers. Of course, that's not up to us to decide. We have governmental regulations to abide by, but as soon as we can, we will do that. We had a plan, as you know, to run Saturday tours for parents, current parents and new parents. Again, that was to start last week, and that's been curtailed with the recent lockdown. But as soon as times are better, hopefully before long, we'll be able to run some tours and get you through the building and see the beautiful space that your kids enjoy. Some people felt the school day was too long, particularly for younger students. We're looking at that. We're revamping our timetable over the past couple of weeks and into next week, and then we'll have some decisions. Timetable changes make a big difference in the day and life of a student, but they also change the frequency with which we meet students. Shorter periods mean we meet more frequently in all subject areas, including areas where it's essential to meet, if not daily, with high frequency, such as language, first language, second language, and mathematics. The research suggests that more frequent meetings are essential for learning. Longer periods mean more concentrated time for learning, less disruption and transmission, but with that comes less frequency in a week. So suffice to say, we're attempting to get the balance just right, and we should have that, we hope, by next week. All right. Many parents expressed an interest to be involved in the TPA. Of course, there are lots of opportunities, and that group has already been very active, but face-to-face meetings present a challenge still. Bigger lockers from middle school, we've already requested those, and they will be ordered. Many commented that the snacks were not sufficient, and that we should allow students to bring their own snacks. We are working on improving the afternoon snack. However, I want to be clear on this, and I've said it before, students are allowed to bring their own snacks. So if you have a child who either doesn't like what's being served or eats a lot, please feel free to send a snack. We just said, please avoid nuts, which is coincidentally also our motto for parent-teacher conferences. Also, people requested more after-school sports. Yes, we know that it's coming. We're fortunate in our after-school program to have anything right now. And again, most schools are not offering after-school activities. It's really challenging because of space to put everybody in a single pod with their grade and then place them all around the school. It's just not possible to have as many activities as we normally would like. But we take that under advisement, and there will be a very different after-school activities program for next year with a larger sport focus in the middle school. Of course, my favorite comments were those praising our teachers, and there were very many of those, as well as understanding that everyone here, especially our teachers, are working to capacity. Many of you also mentioned our high level of communication and that it's thorough. One parent wrote, with everything going on, I'm impressed you're all still standing. There's some truth in that this year. It's been a really challenging year for everybody, our students, our parents, and certainly our staff. But we are still standing. We love what we do, and we think we're providing as good an education in the current circumstance as we possibly can. And of course, the comment, we love the headmaster's jokes, was said by no one. All right, please stay tuned. In the future, I hope next week, if we have time this weekend to collate them, but as soon as we can, we'll get those comments out to you in summary, without identity, with the average score for each of the questions asked. I think we had something like 70 plus questions, and those will have a score between 1 and 4. As I've told you, all of them, save 2, are between the numbers 3 and 4 as an average, so we feel pretty good about that. Okay, now on to the main event. You know, our Early Learning Center is an amazing place. We currently have 74 students and 12 teachers, or 1 adult for every 6 students. This area of the school enjoys 4 classrooms, a multi-purpose space which doubles as a dining room, a large outdoor playground, and a unique indoor playground, which we'll talk about. No, that is not correct. A large outdoor playground and a unique outdoor classroom, which we'll talk about tonight. Without doubt, it is the best equipped part of the school and one of the finest equipped early learning centers that I've seen. And more importantly, we have a truly wonderful group of teachers in the ELC who combine our core knowledge curriculum with Montessori pedagogies in a fascinating manner, which we'll hear more about in a few minutes. I don't believe there's a better early learning center anywhere. Our ELC, expertly led by Carrie Trigg, is a tightly knit group who provide the finest level of education and care. So let's meet them, shall we? The very attractive Dean Owen is one of our kindergarten teachers, along with his teaching partner Tamron Stoffberg and their assistant Mariana Oliveira. Before entering the world of education, Dean gained his Bachelor of Science degree in product and graphic design. His first career was as a 3D product designer, which he preferred over 2-dimensional products. Think about that. Dean gained his teaching qualification with a specialization in early years from the University of Birmingham. While earning his teaching qualification, Dean took a keen interest in the Montessori methodologies and has since combined Montessori ideals with the expectations of core knowledge. A keen football player, that's football with a U, Dean has been encouraged by Mr. Brooks to learn about American football, which he has recently come to love whilst losing a fair bit of money wagering with Mr. Brooks. Dean has 2 young boys enrolled with us, Isaac and Oscar. Next, alphabetically first on everyone's list, Marta Amaral is our newest teacher. In fact, after serving as a teaching assistant for the past 6 months, Marta has been promoted with the imminent departure of Beth and Thomas. Although we will obviously miss Beth, there is no doubt about Marta's capacity and readiness to step in and do an amazing job. She's been teaching many of the students Portuguese already and was a teacher of English in her last school. A true native of Sintra, Marta studied at the high school up the road from us. It's CASL, it stands for, don't tell me, the Carlucci Italian School of Lisbon, I believe, although it's not actually in Lisbon, and yes, I like to poke fun at our neighbors, where Marta completed a bilingual education baccalaureate, international baccalaureate diploma. After earning a degree in translation at Nova University, She interned for the European Parliament in Paris and Luxembourg. According to Marta's bio, she loves children almost as much as she loves dogs. I've said it before, Marta is usually seen carrying 2 or 3 of our young children, your young children, in her arms much of the day. So moms, if you smell a strange perfume on your husband's clothes, it's probably Marta's. Lastly, and definitely not least, our own Carrie Trigg, Queen of the Forest, mother of the ELC, Welsh surfer chick, and Early Learning Center director and kindergarten teacher. This mother of 2 and bundle of energy completed her teaching training at Cardiff University. After graduating at age 22, she moved to Australia, where she taught English and surfed. And from there, spent 16 years at a neighboring Qashqai school, IPS. During her time there, Carrie led the school through their early years foundation stage program. She considers Portugal to be the perfect country to nurture both her family and her teaching career, and to surf. Her young daughters, Sunshine and Moon Dust, are with us here at Tassas, Portugal, and her husband runs a popular surf shop. And Carrie is also a trained forest school leader. Wait, I'm being told her daughters' names are Summer and Saren. Sorry about that. Honestly, Carrie joined us early in the project, and in fact helped us design much of the early learning space and our unique outdoor classroom. And now she's acting as the director and mentor to our amazing faculty. So with those introductions done, let's dig into a few questions, shall we? Amy, do you have anything to interject before we begin with questions?
I do not. This is a perfect time to start out on the questions, and I believe the first one is for Marta tonight. And she's also, for you parents who've not been physically in the building, she is in her seedlings classroom right now, and really looking forward to giving you a bit of a tour.
All right, so the first one is going to be, what does your classroom look like to all of the teachers? But Marta's going to give us a visual tour right now.
Yeah, before I do that, I'm just going to give a little context. And the ELC is a little world on its own. And when you come to our part of the school, you can see that we all work as a very united team. The classrooms were all designed with the same mindset. And I'm going to give you a little sneak peek so you can see how this is the seedlings classroom. So if you were to come in on a normal day when you're all at school, and if you were to come into one of the classrooms, what you will see is all the children are working together. There's many discussions going on, lots of thinking being verbalized, which is actually part of the visible thinking framework, and children basically just excited about learning. Another very important thing is the fact that we all have different corners in the classrooms, which enhances the different areas of the children's learning. We have a language area, we have a math area, we have a practical life area. And then we, in the ELC, all of our classes, they have got names. So we begin with pre-K 1, which are the seedlings, then we grow into a sapling, and then we go to pre-K 2, and then later on in kindergarten, we have the ferns and the willows. Each class has their own class agreements, which we discussed with the children at the very beginning of the year about what our classroom ideology is and what the teachers can expect from the students and what the students can expect from their teachers. What else? We also include yoga and mindfulness in our day-to-day routine, which is always great for the children when they need a moment to breathe in and out and maybe just reflect on something that has happened. So the ELC has been designed to be and is a great space for children to grow and to flourish into what they need to then have all the tools and to be ready to start grade 1 in the best and strongest way possible. And I am super proud to be part of this amazing project.
That was great. Thank you, Marta. Thanks for the visual tour as well. It's nice, I think, for our parents to actually see the inside of one of our classrooms. The ELC classrooms mostly look alike, but you can see right behind Marta the natural cork walls. All of our classrooms throughout the school feature natural cork. And thanks for also explaining the yoga and meditation and the fact that students breathe in and out. We know how problematic it is when they just breathe in. So Dean and Carrie, do you want to add anything to what we might see in your classroom, whether it's visually or maybe just pedagogically?
Yes, Keith, I will love to share you what it looks like in the kindergarten classroom. So we have the same, very similar look, and we have a lot of Montessori materials and natural materials ready for the children. But we all have our sort of growth mindset displays as well, with the children's work displayed on the wall for them to feel good about the things that they've been doing. And we can also have our visible thinking displays where we are working together and putting up our questions and our thoughts and our wonders. So it's very interactive, our classrooms, and you'll have children maybe working in different areas of the classroom. And as we have 3 members of the staff in the class, you might have some children working in the classroom, some working maybe outside, some working in the multi-purpose room. So it's a very busy classroom, busy in the ELC, but it's a very calm environment as well. Maybe Mr. Owen, Mr. Dean, Owen would like to share some more.
Yeah, I mean, if you were to come into the fun class, then what I would hope that you would see, and what I've heard other teachers around us and other TAs that come and walk by our room, what we hear them say is that you often see the children working. And as silly as that sounds, there's always something that Maria Montessori, the founder of the Montessori pedagogy, she always said that when the children work as if the adult's not there. And when I hear the adults around us saying, oh, you can really see how hard the children are working. And yeah, that's because I'm talking to you at the moment, yet they're still going. They don't need that leadership all the time. And so we love to see that independence in the classroom as well. So if you was to come into any of the kindergarten classrooms, but we try to get it into the pre-Ks as well, obviously. We like to see the children being independent. If you walked through our classroom, you'd see independence for sure.
Thanks for that, Dean. Great explanation. And of course, we're trying to encourage independence. I'm always amazed when I come to your classroom to find that none of the adults are there too. And I think that does really promotes independence among the young kids. So, Carrie, I just want to be clear, what people are looking at is not your classroom. That, in fact, you're projecting from a tiki hut by the look of it.
It's my little house, my little cottage in the mountains. Luckily, I still have reception today, so I can talk to you.
All right, we're going to move on to the next question. This question is for all of you, but we'll start perhaps with Dean. The question is, how much communication do you have with our difficult parents? No, wait a minute. How much communication do you have with our parents during this difficult year? Sorry, a slip of the tongue. And what do you miss most about not having our parents visit the classrooms?
Having the parents visit the classroom, that's always one where the teachers kind of say, I like the classroom to be our own, but in actual fact, having the parents come in, I'd never realized how much I loved it until this year, and I can't have it. It really does help the kids. So not being able to invite you guys in is a massive factor this year. I know how much it gives to the children, and I've realised how much I like showing off my room as well. Me and Miss Stoffberg work really hard on creating all of those visions that you've just heard about, and getting to show them off is one of the plus points, really. So we really do miss being able to invite you guys in, even if before this year we didn't realise it. The communication that we have with you guys, though, I've never worked in a school that communicates with parents as much as TASIS does. I've never been one to shy away from communicating with parents. I think it's an absolute plus point. I think if you can have a good relationship with the parents, then you're going to foster that good relationship with the child as well. And the child is also going to have a good relationship with learning as well. If you bridge that gap between parent and school, I've worked in schools where that bridge isn't necessarily fully complete, and the parents are disengaged with school for one reason or another. They didn't like school as a child or anything. But if you can bridge that gap between parent and school, well, then it's only going to benefit the child. So being able to WhatsApp the parents has been amazing. I've always had email communication with parents, just like we do at TASIS as well. The one-to-one meetings that we're having whilst working remotely at the moment, we invite the parents in to sit beside the child on the screen. So yes, we are working one-to-one with the child, but that's also a time to invite the parents in as well, so they can tell us. And we've had some great feedback from that alone. Whilst working remotely, some of our parents have helped us tremendously, saying what works well, saying what they can see on camera, saying what they need to see better on camera. It really, really does help. So the communication between TASIS and the TASIS parents, I think it's really, really strong. And having direct communication with the parents and the teachers, it just works tremendously.
Thank you, Dean. Well said. We all miss having the parents in the school, although we've noticed fewer staplers go missing this year. Carrie or Marta, do you want to comment on that? Carrie, okay, go ahead.
So at the beginning of the year, I think that is the challenge, a big challenge for parents, especially for the young children. It's maybe the first time their child's gone to school and they weren't able to come in and actually help their child settle in. So that was very difficult, maybe more for the parents. But this year we had a special start to the year where we had our Explorers Week and the children just came running in. They just loved all the activities we've had. So I'm sure this is going to be something that we will do again. But the children are feeling so comfortable that they come running in the door even when they came into the new school with these big smiles. And I think that's because we're having daily conversations with the parents, even if we can't do it there and then, but maybe through a phone call or an email or a quick message, or through sending photos and videos. So we've had to adapt, and I can say this year, even though it was the first year where the parents couldn't settle their children in, we found the children settled in really, really well.
Thank you, Carrie. We're going to move on to the next question because I realize that we're running short on time now, so we'll speed it up. Do you use extrinsic motivators such as rewards, prizes, or points? And if not, why not? Oh, Marta. Oh, we lost you. Okay, you're back.
I'll take that one, Keith, shall I?
Thanks, Carrie.
Okay, so we really encourage intrinsic motivation. We really want our children to be confident and successful learners. And we do that through not giving rewards and prizes and point system. We do that through building a strong growth mindset. We have social and emotional lessons almost every day. We are doing mindfulness activities, and we are doing lots and lots of glow and grow conversations with the children where the children can reflect on their own learning. And we do this through our ELE skills. So for the whole term, the whole of the ELC have been working on these ELE skills. And Marta would like to explain a little bit more about our ELE skill program.
So the ELE skills is something that we focus a lot on and something that we bring into the classroom on a daily basis. ELE stands for Effective Lifelong Learning Inventory. And this is centered on the idea of learning powers and how these powers or characteristics help us become better at learning. What this means is that there's 7 critical dimensions of learning. There's critical curiosity, meaning making, creativity, strategic awareness, learning relationships, resilience, and changing in learning. And basically, Each one of these powers is represented by an animal. For example, the cat represents critical curiosity, the spider represents meaning making, the unicorn creativity, the owl strategic awareness, the bees represents the learning relationships, the turtle represents resilience, and the chameleon represents changing. And these animals, they're part of a story that helps to introduce all of these skills in a way that children can relate to what each of the animals represents. And this is how we encourage kids to use their learning powers to structure, to develop, and to better understand their learning. To give you a quick example, in the saplings classroom, every time one of the students makes use of one of these powers, such as, for example, and this has already happened when we were talking about the different animal groups, more specifically the mammals, and how they produce milk. There was this one child who said, "Oh, a cow is a mammal because it produces milk and then we drink it." So he was using his spider power of making meaning and connections. And then we added a leaf to our ELE tree, just as a symbol of how learning and how children are using their spider power and making connections.
That's brilliant. Thank you, Marta. Excellent explanation. Next question. Maybe Carrie will ask this one of you. What is finger gym?
Okay, well, so finger gym is helping the children build their fine motor skills, and we do a lot of this in the pre-K classes, but we also do it up to kindergarten as well, because children of this age still need to strengthen their fingers to be able to write. So these are helping them with pre-writing skills as well. And we will be doing this through lots of outdoor activities, indoor activities, and lots of things like threading, picking up with pinchers. And we also have a great handwriting program called Handwriting Without Tears. And maybe Dean, you'd like to talk about our Handwriting Without Tears program, which our children really enjoy, and they start this in pre-K too.
Yeah, the Handwriting Without Tears is a great program. It on the face of it, you get the resources which the children can use. The children can write in, they can practice their letter shapes, their letter recognition, and there's a whole backside to it where you can use online resources as well. We use them in the classroom just as much as we are doing whilst learning remotely now as well. But even fun little cartoons that it incorporates, you know, your diver letters that dive down, and they've got this character called Diver Dan that dives down, and the kids absolutely love it. I thought they loved my teaching, but I think they love these videos. They love Diver Dan even more. But yeah, Handwriting Without Tears, it really does focus on the fine motor skills as well. The pencils are like half size, even less probably, and that's to put a real focus on that tripod grip, that where you have, well, the pincer grip with one finger underneath. That's what we're going for in the end. And yeah, the idea of the finger gym is to get them ready for that. So everything they do in pre-K1, pre-K2, monkey bars is great for muscle growth as well. It's all about growing those muscles in the hand. There's a fantastic image on Google if you want to search muscle development X-ray early years, those sort of keywords. If you Google those sort of keywords, it was a few years ago now, I saw a great picture of an X-ray between a 2-year-old's hand and a 6 or 7-year-old's hand, and you can really see why the children need to develop these muscles, because the difference between those two X-rays is enormous.
Thank you, Diver Dean. Appreciate that.
We'll rename him Diver Dean. Why haven't I done that?
Oh, Carrie, I think there's probably enough on finger gym. That was a great explanation, Dean, including the hand signals. We really appreciate that. So if nothing else, when the kids get out of the ELC, they'll be fantastic pinchers, won't they? Yeah. Please talk about how the academic program in the ELC is unique and its progression. I think a lot of parents don't understand what goes on in pre-K 1, 2, and 3, and how we're getting pre-K 1, 2 and kindergarten, how we're getting students ready for grade 1. I'm not sure who wants to take that.
Okay, I can start with maybe the maths. So first of all, our maths is we use the Singapore maths, and this is really building strong foundations, even from the pre-K ones. They'll be doing a lot of practical activities, starting to play with number and play with shapes and colours, and get a really good foundation of number sense. And then when they move on to pre-K 2, they'll start doing lots more sort of problem-solving activities. And by the time they're in kindergarten, they're really strong at already understanding number sense and their shapes and measures. And then we're going to start doing a lot more deep problem solving. And you'll see a lot of children working in groups, asking each other questions, working on resolving questions together, using manipulatives, and then recording that as well. So in the early years, we're really building a strong foundation for the children to use these skills and acquire these skills as they grow to grade 1. And maybe Dean, you'd like to talk about our core knowledge, CKLA.
Yeah, the core knowledge is a great curriculum. It's the first year I've used it, but I absolutely love it, and I want to use this curriculum more and more and more. That age-old question of when your kid comes home, and I've had it with my kids as well, and you're in the car ride back home and you ask, oh, so what did you do today? What did you learn today? And I don't know. I played on the playground with my friends, and you're not getting the answers that you as a parent really want. You want to find out what they're learning, right? This year with core knowledge, I find that the children genuinely are just divulging everything that comes out that day during those conversations. The parent-teacher meetings that we've had, me and Miss Stoffberg, we were blown away by how many times we heard from the parents. They just tell us everything, and that knowledge strand of the core knowledge curriculum, the way that I differentiate it, we have the knowledge lesson and we have the skills lesson. The knowledge lesson is just stuff that we can tell the kids. It's really cool stuff that we can tell the kids, and that's the stuff that they're coming home and telling you all about. The skills is the stuff that we need to get them to do so that they're grade 1 ready. Handwriting, things like that. So that's how I very briefly talk about core knowledge and those two strands to that curriculum. And a big shout out to Miss Anderson as well. She's the one who's really helped us to understand that curriculum, and the way I've just explained it is exactly how I speak to her about it, and she just reaffirms and confirms to me that that's exactly what we should be doing and how we should be doing it. So
I'd just like to explain that when we do the core knowledge, it gets we go really deep into the knowledge. And so we've been doing the explorers recently, and it's amazing how much information the children retain and how curious they are. They're asking some curious questions that I would normally get from teaching children much older. So this has been a really interesting curriculum for us to dive into and work with the children and really see the benefits. And these are skills that are going to take them through the school, and obviously they'll be building on these skills. But they're really enjoying the knowledge.
Thank you, Carrie. Thank you, Dean. We're going to move on to the next question. I've blogged a lot about the core knowledge curriculum, and I've talked on the show about it many times, so I won't go on and on about the merits of a knowledge-rich curriculum, but there's a lot of research to support it. Read my blog on that if you want more information. Now, we have a unique playground and outdoor classroom, Carrie, which you designed. What's the difference between the playground and the space that you use as the outdoor classroom?
Okay, so the outdoor classroom has been designed specifically for learning opportunities. There'll be certain areas for each subject. There'll be like a language area, a maths area, and we've been building lots of resources and acquiring new resources to go outside. We have a little mud kitchen area as well, which can be used for language development and maths. We have a reading area where they have this big throne that they can sit on and little stools around. It's a very nice place to read, to do read aloud to the children. There's also opportunities for fine motor skills, gross motor skills outside. We have a big slide and climbing frame, but we can turn these climbing frames into, they've made them into dens, they've made them into like teepees. We've also got a house outside which gets turned into various role play areas, which promotes language development. And we also have the sensory areas. We've got like a sensory walk. We're also going to be doing planting, where we'll have different plants for the senses. And the children, you know, when they go outside, it's just a different environment. Some children feel more confident when they're outside, and you'll see them open up and feel more confident to do new things and experiment in new ways. And it's also nice that the children can freely go between, like, we could be working inside the multi-purpose room doing something, and they can go outside, so we can have a free flow of activities as well.
You want to mention the flooring in the?
Oh yeah, we chose a unique flooring, so we wanted it to be sustainable, and I found that we could get cork flooring. So Keith looked into it, and I think we're probably the first school that has this unique cork flooring. And so most floorings are can be toxic, and this obviously is a natural material, so we're very lucky and fortunate to have it, and it's quite soft as well.
Yes, and I was so impressed, Carrie, with the way that you found a flooring that could cost us 3 times as much as a regular floor. That was fantastic. We're going to open it up, I think, Amy, to questions from the floor. We've talked a lot. We've got a few minutes left.
Sure. As is the usual practice here, lots of our parents are writing in just to publicly give their thanks. And so Bruna wrote, "No question, just want to say how happy we are with your work, Carrie, and to the team." So a big thank you from Bruna, who's got 2 kids with us this year. And I love it when parents name themselves by their children's names. So Millie's dad, a frequent guest with us, has a few questions. First, he said, even though Dean talks with a funny accent, I agree with all that he says, and the communication with teachers during this difficult time is excellent. He added that he and his wife hear their daughter talk about the animals, the Ellie animals that Marta described in the online classes, and they'd love to learn more about the different animals and their skills so they can talk to Millie about them using vocabulary that she is familiar with. So that's a great request. And Carrie, did you want to add to that one?
Yes. So actually, Marta, Miss Amaral, has made a beautiful book, which we could send home to parents. So we'll send it his way.
Wonderful. Thank you. And there was another question about whether or not students in the ELC will move with their teachers. So as they move from one class to the next, will they have new teachers or retain the same ones?
Usually, we don't.
Oh, we might have lost Carrie.
Oh, you lost me.
No,
My
she's
back.
Yeah.
They don't usually move with the children, unfortunately. I know that's the case in Portuguese schools. Some children might be lucky enough to get Miss Amaral again because she's been in seedlings and now in saplings class. But usually we usually probably will stay in our same position next year, I imagine.
And just reinforcing this theme, and I know that the ELC teachers are very proud of their focus on growth mindset and developing these important skills. Another current parent, Dana, writes, "We have both girls in the ELC, pre-K2 and kindergarten, and they really use the Ellie analogy, encouraging each other to use this power or that power in certain situations, which is amazing." So I'm sure I can see Dean with a big smile on his face right now. So Dean, maybe you want to just speak for a minute about that and how it makes you feel as a teacher. You're muted, Dean.
I told myself not to make that mistake. Okay. That's fantastic to hear. To hear that they're making the links as well, which is one of the early skills, by the way. But to make the link between what they're doing, especially in an environment that isn't school, it's just fantastic to hear. So thank you for letting us know that.
Thank you, Dean. And the same parent said, I'd like to know if you consider the screen time currently too much for their age. Their blackboard is a screen, songs, even cartoons are played throughout the day. Now we have even more screen time at home. We strongly oppose the tablets and screens in general, and now we are exposing children to many hours per day in front of the screen. I don't think anyone would disagree with that, but would any of you like to respond to that? Carrie, go ahead, thank you.
So unfortunately, that's, part of our online learning at the moment. We have to deliver a lot of it on through screen. However, we are offering a lot of practical activities. And so there is choice to do a lot of more things with the children, to do maybe with nature, mindfulness, yoga. So we are offering a lot of other opportunities so that we are giving them some time away from the screens. I know, like, every day we're trying to do that, especially in kindergarten, and I know even more in the early years, in the pre-K 1 and 2. So we're trying to have a balance between us being on screen and us sending videos, but also giving them, fun activities to do which are practical around the house, in the garden, maybe when they go for a walk. We had our children making teepees, and I had some children show us some teepees in the forest that they've made. We've had them make friendship potions, and we've had mindfulness jars being made. And I know Miss Amaral would like to explain some of the practical activities that the children have been engaging in, and sending you videos as well, haven't they?
Yeah, absolutely. So we do offer other activities and other opportunities for them to be outside or to just have some time off screen. And we've made a Zen jar that they can that can help them relax and calm down. We've done a germ experiment. They always have dance with Miss Saki. They have PE and music, and these activities are sometimes pre-recorded, and then they can do it in their own time, whenever they are free to do it, whenever they feel like it's a good and opportune moment to do them. So yeah,
So is it fair to say to one of our parents here who's writing in that in an ideal world, you as educators would not advocate for this much screen time for children during the day, but the focus that you've placed in preparation for classes allows for a low-tech approach to also get the content, which obviously relies upon parents a bit more. And so Carrie or Dean, I don't know if you would like, Carrie, if you want to talk about that.
So, we've got different situations where parents maybe are working, and they really would like us to be more engaging with their children. So we're giving opportunities to do different types of learning, whether it's going to be through videos, through practical activities, or live with us. We're giving those opportunities, and the children do not need to come on with us the whole morning or for all the live sessions. We even record our sessions as well. The opportunities there, they can choose to not even be online, because we're giving them the other activities as well.
Thank you. Lots of nice compliments again, and including many people, Dean, just enjoy listening to you speak, and your manner, you sound so knowledgeable, your enthusiasm, Marta's background and experience, Carrie's deep expertise, and for many, it's just a great opportunity to get to see you in action here. Keith, there's a final question here, but I know you have a few closing comments that you'd like to make. But would you be able to tell this attendee what differentiates TASIS Portugal's ELC from those in other TASIS schools?
We've visited the ELC in Switzerland, TASIS Switzerland. It's very similar. The physical setup is a little bit different. We have a much larger physical space, playground and outdoor classroom, but the approach, the pedagogical and curricular approach is similar. I think we bring in perhaps more Montessori because that happens to be the background of many of the teachers in our ELC. Their classes, because of the physical plant, are smaller. They have one teacher with a small number of students. We have 3 teachers with a larger group of students. I happen to prefer that. I think there's more diversity in a large class and you get more adults, so you have a greater variety. But both very similar in terms of their pedagogy and curriculum. Core knowledge is also present at all the TASIS schools. I would say we follow that curriculum through grade 5 with more fidelity than any other school. It's just a commitment that we made at a new school, and because we are new, we've been able to really endorse that with our faculty. You might be able to comment on that, Amy, as well. You've been to the other TASIS schools.
Yeah, some of it just has to do with the practicalities of what the local governments and municipalities require. So, for example, in Switzerland, they're part of an Italian canton, and so Italian is a requirement through their early years, and it all depends on how many years a family's been there. So, lots of things like that. There are over 30 buildings. I think that's the number now at TASIS in Lugano, Switzerland, which means that the classrooms they were all purpose-built as educational spaces, but they're working with classic, old, gorgeous buildings with smaller rooms. And so that's why they have smaller classes, whereas we were able to take a very large structure and building and really size the classrooms to where we wanted for the number of students that we felt was ideal for the space. So some things are dictated by the practicalities and realities of things like space. But otherwise, the TASIS schools all ultimately report to the TASIS Foundation Board, and those people ensure that this is truly a family of schools. So thank you, Keith.
The other thing I would add is we decided to build this school from the ground up. So the ELC with 74 children is a very significant proportion of our student population, whereas TASIS in England and TASIS in Lugano, they were boarding schools mostly for a long time, and then added early learning later. So their early learning and elementary programs are smaller than ours.
And that concludes the questions from our audience. Keith, if you would like to give your closing remarks, we're all ready for you.
Well, I'll be quick. I want to thank, first of all, our outstanding and very busy teachers for giving up their evening to join us. And I'm sure for many of our current parents, seeing Carrie, Dean, and Marta tonight served as a reminder of what your children are missing, unfortunately, not being able to be here. We are truly most concerned about the learning of our youngest students during this lockdown. And we obviously desperately miss the seedlings, the saplings, the ferns, and the willows. For most of us, myself included, when you're having a rough day and things maybe aren't going exactly as planned, many of us just take a stroll through our early learning center and we see the beautiful, smiling, inquisitive faces, and that makes your day. And it's a truly joyous place to be. And someday, soon we hope, you'll be able to do the same. From a final comment, obviously, we're all hoping this lockdown ends soon and we can abandon the teaching online model, which we know is far less effective than having our students with us. But we're grateful to our families, who are usually our partners in learning, but at this time particularly so, as they are acting as teaching assistants right now in each of the classes. We do appreciate your efforts. We miss all of you desperately. We're looking forward to the end of this, and hopefully it'll be soon. Please Have a good evening, stay safe, and don't forget, tomorrow is Hat Day for Assembly. We'll see you all again next Thursday night, same bat channel. Take care.